Hello, and welcome to Self-Care is Sexy. My name is Chris, and I'll be your host. We're a podcast that's here to generate and share self-care ideas with each other. On my last episode, I talked all about taking a break, and I gave you some really good ways on not only how to spot if it's time to take a break, but also giving you that much needed permission to walk away from whatever you're dealing with right now that just gets in the way of your self-care. If you missed the permission and all those lovely tips, you can check that out on iTunes, SoundCloud, Spreaker, or anywhere else you get your podcasts from. All right, I want to give you a quick preview of what to expect from today's show. Today, I'm giving you 5 tips on how to self-hype naturally. These are practical ways that you can promote yourself, your business, and learn how to build that lasting self-confidence through self-care without feeling like it's some sort of shameless plug. I'm also going to talk about 5 different ways to help you start talking better about yourself. So let's get to it today. All right, today we're going to talk about 2 separate things that are kind of connected. We're going to be talking about self-hype and how to naturally talk good about your passion project, your business, whatever it is that you're doing that you want to promote. And we're also going to talk about how we talk about ourselves personally. So 2 separate things, professionally and personally. And the reason I want to talk about this today is that one of the biggest tips I give out on the show about self-care is about the internal conversation you're having about yourself and with yourself about yourself. Now, I don't know how many times I just said self in that last sentence, but you get the idea. We're learning to change that inner dialogue, that inner monologue, that inner self-critic, and we're going to learn today how we can promote our businesses, our passion projects, the things that we really love without it feeling conceited or like a shameless plug. And what's going to in turn happen as we learn to promote ourselves and boss up the way we talk about ourselves, we're going to start to build long-lasting confidence. And as you do it, other people are going to get the permission they need to do it too. Whether it's promoting their business, whether it's hyping their art, whether it's getting out a message that is extremely important, either way, we've got the tips to help you do that. So we're going to get right into it today. Not a lot of explanation needed about what self-hype is. If you have a hard time with it, if you feel like you're just not good at promoting yourself, this is a really good episode for you. First of all, let's start with how we hype ourselves naturally. Number 1, it's important that you mention your business, your side hustle, your passion project, whatever it is, when anybody asks that obligatory question of what do you do, that opening question. Don't diminish yourself when you're explaining this. Now, watch your body language. You deserve a pump up. Never like a sell, but like a share. Does that make sense? So you're not trying to sell yourself. You're not trying to be like, hey, buy me and whatever great thing I'm into. You're trying to share what it is you do. So, for example, you want to mention your passion project. You want to announce it naturally in conversation, but if it's uncomfortable for you, if this is not something that you do often, you're gonna start getting good at it by simply mentioning it. This is a big step for a lot of people, especially my introverts out there who don't like to push their thing onto other people. Whether it's a new project, whether you're starting a new business, whether you are into an incredible art that you want to push out there, or just letting people know what you're doing. You're gonna practice by mentioning it to somebody this week. And digitally counts. It counts not if you post something about your project or your passion or your work or whatever you're doing. You have to actually DM someone. You have to actually reach out purposely. And that is really great practice for learning how to self-hype yourself naturally. Number 2, you're going to post your content without the self-judgment. Now, this is something I've learned through the podcast and through putting my passion project out into the world. You can edit yourself to death. But what we really want to get good at is putting it out into the world and just setting it free. Because whoever needs it is going to find it. We need to really shift our thinking about promoting ourselves and make it less about, success equals my self-worth, and more about loving the process of sharing yourself with others. Because this is really important, that if you're trying to promote a business, if you're trying to start a new passion project, if you're really into a product or something that you want others to know about, this is really good practice to post your content without explanation or over editing. Post something that's vulnerable but true to you, and make sure to include the mention of your business, your side hustle, or your passion project in that post without self-judgment. You have to take off that critical eye, that critical perspective of everything you do, and just know that all of the faults, the mistakes, whatever happens in the content that you're posting, whether it's a video or like with the podcast, it's a audio edit, whatever it is, you have to know that the original delivery is what people are looking for. They're not looking for your watered down critical version. Number 3, the most important thing that you can do to really cultivate positive self-hype is to create daily habits that include hyping yourself up. Like, you could do a morning routine that includes affirmations, right? Saying a positive sentence over and over and over again. You're a bad bitch. You're a boss. I love the work you're doing. You're so motivational. And repeating it over and over and over. And practice soothing yourself with praise. Now, let me talk about this real quick, because this is integral. If you have really crappy self-image, if you have a really hard time not criticizing yourself and not beating yourself up and not treating yourself like garbage all the time, I want you to get really good at soothing yourself with boss-ass praise. It's gonna feel weird at first, for sure. But you've got to remember that speaking to yourself in your head in a loving manner can change your life. And don't move on from whatever you're doing until you can hear your own voice with that hyped up, go man action. No drama, no bullshit, just really telling yourself what a great job you've done, how well you're doing, how much effort you're putting into it. Praise yourself every time you do something that is positive, and catch yourself talking positively about yourself. Whether it's hyping your business, whether it's talking about a personal experience, whether it's sharing yourself with other people, any interaction you have with other people is an opportunity for you to practice this. So creating daily habits, whether it's affirmations, whether it's words that you just repeat over and over to yourself, whether it's just telling yourself what a great job you're doing, make sure you have a daily practice where you're hyping yourself up. It's so important to self-care. Number 4, next, I want you in your pursuit to talk better about yourself internally and to promote your business and to get yourself out there. I want you to get really, really fucking good at forgiving your own mistakes quickly. Now, this is a big one to learn if you're new to self-care. And if you're new to my show, you're going to soon learn this is not a surface level skincare shake product review podcast. No, this is the show where we actually get you to the point where you effortlessly and you consistently take care of yourself first. And a big part of that deeper work is centered around the ability to forgive yourself. And you've also got to stop avoiding mistakes and just embrace the fact that you're going to make mistakes. We're all going to make them. You're going to make a lot of them. And you need to learn the skill of forgiving yourself and then moving on. Now, you do have a responsibility to learn from mistakes. That's important. We highly encourage learning from your mistakes. But even if you keep making the same mistake over and over again, you've got to be learning from it each time. And that's still progress. So if you find that it's really hard to forgive yourself and you berate yourself and you talk down to yourself every time you miss a deadline, you forget something, you say something wrong, you feel like you've done some harm some way, I want you to remember the 3 easy steps to self-forgiveness. You acknowledge, accept, and reflect. All right? Acknowledge that you made a mistake, accept that you're human, you're gonna make mistakes, and reflect on what you've learned from it. And you want to use every opportunity you can to practice this. Now, this goes out to my friends out there who say sorry for everything. Start watching when you're apologizing and start coveting your apologies as a special treasure. They are not to be handed out freely for every little fucking thing you do. You only apologize after you have acknowledged a mistake, you've accepted that you make mistakes, and you've reflected and learned from that mistake. And then, and only then, do you apologize for that mistake. This is so crucial to changing your inner dialogue and getting to the place where you're confident enough to hype your business, to rep yourself properly. Which brings me to self-hype tip number 5. Every single time that you see yourself progress, every time you notice, every time you took care of yourself first, that you set a boundary and followed through on it, every single time you do something correctly, out loud, I want you to recognize what a good job you're doing. I want you to get into that daily habit of saying what you did well. I want you to say it to yourself, and I want you to say it to someone else out loud. I just want you to know how empowering that is. If you made a mistake and you correct it, and you are improving on yourself, I want you to turn to somebody you say and say to them, you know what? I was a badass at work today. I am so proud of the hard work I'm doing. And this is a daily practice that is going to change and shift your thought patterns. And it's going to help you to practice that self-love and that self-care that you need. Now, again, if you're new to self-hype, if you're new to talking to yourself well, it's going to feel a little weird. It's going to feel like it's not true. It's going to feel like you're kind of being a little boisterous, a little boastful. It's going to feel awkward. But I promise you, this is a game changer, friends. This will lead to better self-care, which will lead to better business, which will lead to better self-hype, which will lead to better business. And that is the key. All right, let me run through that one more time. The 5 ways to hype yourself naturally were: number 1, mention your business. Number 2, post your content without judgment. Number 3, create daily habits of hype. Create daily habits of self-hype. Number 4, forgive your mistakes quickly. And number 5, say out